Hi, folks. You are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, on all of our channels and networks, on the podcast, on YouTube. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That guy out there is
Eric Zandona in Crestview, Florida.
Welcome to Florida Man, ladies and gentlemen. Eric Zandona, our own personal Florida man.
Yeah.
We have been really blessed, I have to say. We've been really blessed with, we have just gotten through almost several of these wonderful agave spirits from all over Mexico. And this one tonight I'm very excited about because I've been dying to get my hands on it. It's Alipus.
Yep.
And a lot of folks out there, I belong to, I kind of lurk a little bit on those Reddit boards, and I just want to see what's out there. And a lot of folks there's so many people now who are really enjoying mezcal, and I want to see what they're enjoying. It kind of gives me a nice idea of what's out there. And Alipus has been around for, I think after Del Maguey, Alipus was like right there.
Yeah.
It just got it. Oh, and Los Danzantes, which is the other one. So there are like three main mezcals that made it into the U.S. Almost one after the other. And Alipus has been one I've never been able to get my hands on until now. So thank you, craft distillers. I appreciate that. So you tell me, you said that there was a brand of Alipus that you loved, that you had in Oaxaca?
Yeah, so there's a brand or an expression, because each of the Alipus comes from a different mezcalero from a different region. And there's one that I just absolutely love that uses clay stills that has a black and orange label. And it's just one of my all-time favorites.
Let me see if there's the black and orange label. Oh, there it is. This San Juan del Rio is the one that you're talking about. I think it's the one that I'm looking at their POS, a point of sale material that they sent to us from Craft Distillers, who is their importer. And that's what I'm looking at. San Juan del Rio, fermented in oak vats, distilled by Don Joel Cruz from non-irrigated agave espadín. So they're stressed plants. Grown in sunny mountaintop plantings, all really stressed plants, in ferriferous soil. I'm not sure what that means.
Semi-ferrous. Well, ferrous would refer to like iron rich.
Okay, all right, I'll get that. I'll buy that.
Yeah.
It's at 4,600 feet. Fruity, rich, smoky, and pleasantly sweet. So it doesn't tell us how it's fermented or how it's distilled, but that's the only one that I can see that's got the other one is an orange and blue label. But the one you were talking about was black label with an orange stamp on the front. So we didn't get that, folks. We didn't get it.
Anyway, if you like mezcals and distilled in clay pots, look for it. It's delicious. So, but
this one,
the other. I'm very excited to try this one too. So.
Yeah, this one is technically I want to call it a medley. I call two different plants medleys and three an ensemble. I don't know if that means anything to anybody except for you musicians out there.
Right.
But I like the idea of a medley being two plants. And so this is like a 90-10, isn't it? Isn't that what it says, the percentages?
Yeah, 90% espadín, and then online it's 10% biquiche.
Yes.
Online they said that the biquiche portion is wild harvested, whereas the espadín is probably grown in a field and regularly harvested. So. This
is a mezcal, and it's coming in at 47.5 ABV. Hello. So let's just taste it and smell it. See what I've been missing because Eric's like a few brands ahead of me. So I'm going to use a Glencairn. I haven't used this in a while, but it's a Glencairn Canadian whiskey blended glass, and I love it for mezcal. Oh, look at the bubbles. Look at those bubbles. Can you see that on my camera?
Yep.
Wow, look at that.
Yep. I can see.
Oh my goodness, lingering bubbles. And I love this glass because it's really ideal for mezcal. I just so that and the fact that I ran out of jarritos for high ABV, but I still have my trusty Glencairn, which thank you for the Glencairn company for making a really ideal glass for mezcal. Oh my goodness. Now this is a mezcal that if you watched our video on Mexicat, that is technically an agave spirit, but it's a raicilla, so it's outside the denomination of origin. This is a full mezcal.
Yeah, so really nice tropical fruit notes as well in this. A little bit more. I would say there's like a touch of sweet kind of fruitiness that's like almost on the verge of like acetone. So there's like a slight like chemically thing like you get, but it's actually, so this is one of the complex things about mezcal is that in spirits where like acetone would be a clear flaw, in mezcal, like it's all about presentation. And so you can have elements like that and there be absolutely nothing wrong with it. And so like in this instance, like you might say, like if you smelled acetone in a tequila, you're just like, well, they messed up somewhere.
Yeah.
And in this, like there's enough other stuff going on with the spirit that it just adds this little layer of complexity. So that's one of the things that one of the things that I personally really enjoy by agave spirits and mezcal is that you can get these real wide variations in character, and as long as they work together, it's right. So you don't have to be like, oh, you don't have to get real about certain stuff and like, oh, that's a flaw in this. Like no, like if they did it right and it works together, just enjoy it.
Well, that's kind of what I say to people. You know, when they ask us what should we drink the mezcal out of? Well, other than a Glencairn, or you can. That's why you can use I've got a whole set of these down below me. Copitas, clay copitas.
Yeah.
You could drink mezcal. A good mezcal you can drink out of your tennis shoe, and all that does is give you an extra layer of complexity. It really is the hand of the maker and the process. And you're right. The only time I've ever been off-put by a mezcal was when it smelled like burning tires. So burning rubber, not a good idea. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing. It's just if you're new to it, it might seem a little odd, but once you've had a couple, these things start to become enchanting in their own way. But yeah, really nice, light, fruity, lively aroma.
It's very bright. I think we should dive in. I've not had this before, so I'm kind of anxious to see what this is about. Mm. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that's a full body. That's a really, and what a finish.
Yeah. So one of the things that's really nice about high ABV like mezcals is that you get this body and this velvety texture in your mouth that you would think like I've had plenty of 40% bourbons or vodkas that just feel like it's scraping your tongue with a paint scraper, right? You're just like, what happened, right? But this is one of the things, this is where you see real artisanal production. ABV doesn't mean harsh, right? You can have something like this, which is what, 95, proof, something like that.
Yeah.
And just have it be smooth as silk.
And see, we say, and I still say it, that there are two words that you shouldn't They shouldn't be in the same sentence when you're describing tequila. Smooth and tequila should never be in the same sentence. However, I have, like you, I've had mezcals at higher ABVs that are silky.
Yeah.
Very, I mean, unless you don't have the descriptor, when that, and all that takes is just experience.
Yeah.
You use smooth. I hearken back to earlier this year when Alex and I tasted the Balam Raicias. We actually had a Raicilla that was creamy.
Yeah.
It was creamy, and it was like, oh my God, it's like you know, it's like yogurt or something.
Right.
You know, it was that just beautiful and very different from the mezcals. You know, like Pichuga is more of a like a soup, depending on who's making it. And the other thing, I was really impressed just now in that first pass with the amount of mouthfeel and the presence on the palate. But if you look at the glass, the legs and tears are not, they're almost runny. They're, you know, they're not clinging to the glass like a tequila or I've seen other agave spirits that will just naturally do that. This is really a kind of a non thing. So I'm shocked. I'm impressed and shocked at the same time about, you know, what I'm tasting here. Is a bicuche. Is that technically like a madre cuiche? Isn't that another name for madre cuiche?
Yeah,
Or
so they're all in the same sort of family. So there's like cuiche, there's madre cuiche, there's bicuiche. They're all sort of in a similar family, having similar but different characteristics. So it sort of falls into that grouping. So I think they tend to be a little bit more more vegetal in character. So from tasting this, on the palate, you get this like really silky, sweet sort of flavor coating your tongue. And at the end, there's this little turn of like slightly green, slightly vegetal character that I think is coming from the bicuiche.
okay.
It adds this really nice sort of, it helps, I think, sort of not make it too heavy, actually. I think it helps like lighten it up a little bit, because you tend with more woody varieties of agave,
Like a Karwinski, for instance?
Sugar. And so it doesn't add a ton in terms of alcohol or weight, but you get a lot of flavor out of those plants. So
see, I love a Karwinski, you know, those, because they have that woody, and sometimes I even call it like an agave paper effect, where it doesn't taste like wood, but it doesn't taste green either. It's like it's kind of like a bark. You know what I mean? And I say agave paper because, you know, maybe as a kid, we've all been challenged to eat paper, right? And you know, paper then is not like paper now. You know, now paper is something different. But paper then tasted like wood, you know, like wood chips. Now it's, I don't know what it tastes like, but that's what because I don't eat paper now. I kind of outgrew that. But you know, when you have, that's why I love the Karwinskis myself personally. Yeah. Or anything that's, and sometimes I can see where a Karwinski would be too overpowering. So when you blend it, when you make a medley or you make an ensemble with more than one plant, and then they each work with each other. That's the beauty of it. Is that this is really working for me, because the cuiche, as you said, it only comes at the back end of the palate. It's almost like an afterthought. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. But really, really lovely. It's gentle for the 47. What is it? 48, 47%?
47.5. Yeah. Yeah.
So. What a price point do we have on this? Do we know?
From what I'm seeing online, it's looking like it's in the $50 range.
I say worth $50.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
This is, for those of you who are big Alipus fans, this is the San Andres expression. Yeah. And to give you the ins and outs, I'm looking at their information here. It's fermented in cypress vats. Yeah. and distilled by Don Valente Angel from agave espadín grown at about 5,000 feet on thin calciferous soiled low hills and terraces. Calciferous, I know what that means. So and complex, rich, and intensely floral. Yes, I agree. I agree. You know what's really interesting, what's lovely is the descriptions that they're giving, and this is a lot of information really distilled down for the average person. What you're understanding is that this particular brand and these expressions, they're all using, they're specifically looking for plants that are stressed. For those of you who are big tequila people, you understand that agave that's been stressed, in other words, it doesn't have a whole lot of water, it doesn't get a lot of rainfall. That's what agave does. That's why agave is so beautiful, because it can thrive whether it gets a lot of rainfall or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, then it acquires even more characteristics from the soil it's in and the microclimate that it's in. And each one of these are probably very different. Now I'm dying to get a hold of the the black label that you were talking about. I don't even, if you folks are, I know you guys are out there who are watching us are big Alipus fans. If you have had several of these expressions, tell us what your favorite is down below in the comments if you're watching us on YouTube. And by the way, here's a hint. If you don't know what this seal is, this holographic seal, get yourself a QR code reader. They're free. Yeah. And you snap that seal, that QR code, and it takes you right to what the CRM, what they're calling themselves. It's kind of like their gnome list, and it gives you even more information. So most of the time, it gives you more information on who the maker is, where it's made. Sometimes it gives you the satellite coordinates of where the plants are coming from, where the palenque is, the distillery. We've done this on several occasions on Sipping Off the Cuff. We don't have to do it for you, but you can shop when you're shopping and you're looking for a good mezcal. You want to know what the big deal is or how the maker is. Maybe the label's not giving you enough. Snap that tag and you'd be surprised what comes up.
Lots of information.
Legally, for the CRM, the only necessity to put in that information is the specifics, the minor details. But you'd be surprised at how many of them actually give you more information. My biggest surprise was Dos Hombres from Brian Cranston and Aaron Paul. You snap that tag and it tells you everything, and you're going, oh my God! And I thought it was just another celebrity brand. You'd be surprised. Don't judge the label or anything. Snap that tag. Do yourself a favor. You will have to learn to read Spanish, but it's all self-explanatory. Yeah. It's simple. What do you think, Eric? Brand of Promise nominee?
Yes, for sure.
Now, how long do you remember this brand being out? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, Alipus is definitely, like, I would say, I agree with you from what you said earlier. It's definitely one of the earlier entrants.
So it's a legacy brand at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for Mezcal. Right. Yeah.
I'll buy that. Legacy brand, Brand of Promise nominee, Alipus. And if you stick with us, folks, we have the rest of this line that Craft Distillers made available to us. We're going to give you the name of the person, the production foreman, the person who oversees all of this stuff that's coming out of one particular palenque. And we'll give you her name, and it's a woman, and that's not a surprise. If you're a big mezcal person, you know that frankly, I really like where she's headed. I'm impressed as hell, man. Yeah. Now I'm gonna find to see if I can snag 2 of those bottles and have them ship one to you, because now I gotta try it. Now I know what the big deal is, because I've never been able to actually find somebody who's bringing this into the U.S. and actually get us samples to us. So thank you again to Craft Distillers. That's our take on Alipus. Like I said, if you're getting it and you're tasting it, tell us what your favorite is and what else is coming up. But I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That guy out there is
Eric Zandona in Crestview, Florida.
You have been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our platforms and networks. Please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Follow this man. He's listed under easy drinking, I think. He's going to change that to Florida Man. I'll watch. But you can follow us on Instagram as well. Follow me personally. I have one called Timber Elk. Don't ask me what that means. But whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.